Hello and welcome back to the video series dedicated to CBS's Big Brother Season 22 All-Stars. Now, just like my previous videos, I'm going to go through a review and recap of the most recent episode of Big Brother, then I'll give a hand signal going into live feed updates, which there's not a whole lot because it's only been one night. But I will be talking about who won the HOH comp and setting up for the rest of the week. So let's start off where last episode left off, and that was Cody not using the power of veto, and then we get this like montage of Janelle and Kaysar campaigning to stay in the house. This was all filler because when Tyler won HOH, he knew exactly who he's gonna put up, and everybody knew exactly who the target was gonna be. And then once Cody won veto, we all knew that he was not gonna change the nominations or veto one of Tyler's picks, and they knew exactly who they wanted to take out just like that. And the target was Janelle the whole time. So this was a lot of filler, a lot of fluff in the beginning of this episode. Then we move into something that happened later on in the week, like a day or two ago, and that was the whole David trying to figure out if Davon was actually flipping the votes. And as we saw, Tyler went up to David, and the same thing with Cody going up to David, saying that Davon was trying to flip the votes and keep Nicole A instead of keeping David. So he went up and talked to Bailey first. Bailey was like, we all have to get into a room together and talk it out. And that's when David asked Davon point blank and then said, oh, well, it was told to me by Cody and Tyler, and that doesn't sit well with Davon because, hey, we're supposed to be in an alliance. Why are you throwing my name out there and throwing me under the bus, especially with a lie like this? Well, after they talked it out in the love room, everybody's on the same page. That's when David and Bailey are walking around, and that's when Tyler comes up out of nowhere, and David asks to talk to Tyler. And in the HOH bedroom, that's when David says, look, I told Davon, and I even name dropped you and Cody. Tyler was pissed. He goes and talks to Cody about it. Cody is pissed. And now they didn't show it in the episode, but Davon spent the whole day, the other day, pretty much fact-checking both Tyler and Cody, talking to them separately and trying to get the facts. They quote-unquote smoothed it over. Cody and Tyler were talking. Cody is feeling disrespected because Davon talked to them separately instead of together. Like, we're supposed to be in this alliance. You're supposed to be trusting of us. Well, you kind of started it by throwing out her name to David, saying that she was trying to flip the votes. Like, everybody's eyes from the other side of the house are like on Davon and David, and it'll play more into the live feed updates as we go into that. So now let's go to the live eviction, and that's when something weird happens. Danny votes to keep Janelle in the game, then Nicole votes to take Janelle out, and then Enzo votes to keep Janelle in the game. So heading into our first commercial break, Julie, Chen, Moonves, and everybody else at home are like, what the heck is going on with these votes? Is something going to happen? Is Janelle going to stay in the house? That's when we come back from commercial break and everybody else votes, and they all vote to evict Janelle. Janelle is leaving the house on a vote of 9-2. She's talking to Julie outside the Big Brother house, and I'm kind of questioning why Danny and Enzo would throw Janelle a couple of votes. Maybe it was for charity. Maybe something inside them wanted to just like not have it be a unanimous vote. But then Julie asked Janelle who she thinks voted to keep her in the game, and her first instinct was Davon and Bailey. Then that's when it clicked. That's when it clicked to me. Danny wants to start chaos, and she's been throwing around Davon's name and Bailey's name out for a couple of weeks now, trying to get them on everybody's hit list. And now it's like, oh, well, now I'm going to drop these two random votes, and people are going to instantly think that it's Davon and Bailey. They're not with the group. They're not with everybody else. And now everybody's going to think they're going to lie about it, saying that, oh, I didn't vote to keep Janelle in. We all know that you were so close to them. So this is all part of Danny's plan to create dissension within the group, within the Slick Six, within the house, to want to target Davon and Bailey sooner rather than later. Okay, we're gonna have a to be continued HOH. We don't have a safety suite anymore, so they want to elongate this HOH comp. Speaking of the HOH comp, it is called Carnival Quick Shot, where we are going to be playing this in rounds. Round 1 will be 6 house guests going up against each other. The top 3 will move on to the final round. Round 2 will be another 6 house guests, where the top 3 will move on to the final round. The final 6 house guests will go against each other to where whoever does it the quickest will win HOH and have all the power this week in the house. So what you have to do in this carnival quick shot is you have a big old ramp with 3 balls, and there's 3 holes at the peak of this ramp. What you're gonna have to do is throw your ball and try to get it into all 3 holes. Once you do that, you move on to the next and final round. The first 6 house guests that are in round 1 will be Nicole, Day, David, Ian, Enzo, and Kaysar. So they're throwing these balls, doing their thing. We go to a commercial break. We come back to kind of eavesdrop on the house guests. And once we see Kaysar kind of just like walking around the backyard leisurely while everyone else is still doing this competition, I feel like, wow, Kaysar actually has a shot. He could win this thing. Now he just has to beast it out like he did in round 1 in the final round. Let's see what he can do. But that's where this episode ends. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. Are you upset to see Janelle leave the house? Let me know that in the comment section below. I know I am. I am happy that we got to see such a legend play again, and we got to see her play with Kaysar. We got to see their friendship on the live feeds. I'm going to tell you right now, for the past 3 weeks, their friendship has been the best thing on the live feeds, and I really appreciate getting to see them play together. Now I'm really wondering what Kaysar can do without Janelle in the house, as this is the first time ever that he's playing without her in the house. Normally he's the first one to go out of the duo. Now he's getting to stay in and play this game. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Who do you think is going to win HOH? Let me know that in the comment section below. And now we're moving on to live feed updates. So, like I said, we got to see Kaysar move on. He's the first one done in round 1. I'm thinking we're going to have Kaysar HOH, and we're going to see the house turned upside down. However, that's just not the case, as I woke up this morning looking at Big Brother update sites and blogs and finding out that Enzo won HOH, and he was talking to Cody about putting up Kaysar 100% and then putting up a quote-unquote pawn. But Cody was kind of laying down the groundwork that he wants to put up David or Kevin next to Kaysar, or possibly putting one of them up as the renom if Kaysar wins the veto that week. And really anybody can go, but Kaysar is like the main target this week. And then Cody tells Enzo that a couple of days or a day or two before tonight's vote or last night's vote, he was asked by Danny like, hey, what if we put 2 votes on for Janelle to stay, and then we can cause some dissension within the house, maybe pin it on 2 people in the house. And Cody was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to like vote to evict Janelle and make sure she leaves. Why am I going to throw my vote and try to do something and then maybe something happens to where she stays? Now go to the vote. There's 2 on Kaysar and the rest on Janelle. And then Cody corners Danny in the pantry and was like, wow, who did you get to vote with you to throw 2 on Kaysar? And Danny instantly denies it. Like, denies it. Like, I don't know what her thinking is to say like, oh, I didn't do that. I didn't have that happen. You can't do that. That's like too much of a coincidence to say like, oh, I didn't do that. So Cody is very nervous, keeping his eye on Danny, and tells Enzo about that. Enzo says that he's not going to tell a soul, but later on in the night, he's talking to Christmas about Danny. They're both saying that how she's a great social player. She's very strong. She's talking to everybody in the house, and Enzo plants it that what if Danny was the one that actually voted to keep Janelle in the game, and Christmas is thinking, well, that's a little nerve-wracking a little bit. We move on to Danny talking to Kaysar, and these two were talking for a while after the vote and after the HOH comp. They were talking, and Kaysar is saying that he's a free agent, that he is willing to work with anybody in the house, and possibly if there's a way that Danny could use her influence to keep him safe within this week. Danny and Kaysar are talking and saying like, well, I'll try to do my best, but you never know what's going to happen. Enzo is kind of a wild card. I'm not really close with Enzo, blah, 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 blah. And Kaysar is trying to say that, hey, I'm going to lay low. I'm going to try to integrate myself in the house. And I'm really not that much of a threat because I don't win competitions. I'm not winning competitions, and I'm all alone in the house. Why take me out? And so he's doing his best to like lay down the groundwork, especially with Danny, who has a lot of influence within the house, no matter what she says. At one point in the night, Ian is talking to Cody about possible targets once Kaysar is out of the house, and Cody is kind of being like, I don't know any targets. I'm just really like keeping my eyes focused on getting Kaysar out this week. And Ian is like, well, I'm thinking that maybe we could put up David, and then Nicole was really worried about whether Bailey was going to win HOH, and because of the connection that she had with Janelle, that possibly Bailey would want to take a shot at Nicole because of that. And I don't know if Ian is really feeling that way, or if he just knows what Cody wants to hear and is kind of just giving Cody what he wants to hear by saying, oh, I'm gonna want to put up David. Nicole thinks that Bailey is a good person to target, so maybe that's a person to throw out there. And I think that that's what maybe he's doing, is he's just giving Cody what he wants to hear to kind of keep under Cody's radar. Enzo is getting a big old egotistical head now that he's won 3 competitions. He did tell Cody at one point that if none of the girls in his alliance are going to win anything in the next few competitions, that he's going to sit them all down and say that you're all kicked out of the alliance because you ain't pulling your weight, you're not gonna win. Which is like, who are you, bro? You win a couple of competitions and now, like, come on, man, get out of here. Get out of this with this like big old head. And I'm not gonna lie, I think just how Memphis kind of blew up his game by becoming HOH and putting a target on his back, I feel as though Enzo might say something that he's going to regret in this game, and he might put a target on his back. I don't know how he doesn't have a target on his back after winning 3 competitions, but I think he could have thrown this HOH competition and like given it to somebody else like Kaysar or somebody else that's in a different alliance or in his alliance, and he would have been fine. Like, he did not have to win power and now he has to pick a side. Like, he was good on all accounts. But I get it. He's very competitive. He's very like stubborn, and he wants to have that power. He wants to make those decisions. He wants to show that he deserves to be in this house, blah, blah, blah. And he wants to have that over people so that he can tell people that they're kicked out of the alliance or not. But I think just like Memphis' HOH, he's going to put a target on his back. He might get too big for his britches and start like coming after people or saying stuff that he does not really feel, or he wouldn't say if he wasn't in power. So overall, I think Enzo could be doing something wrong with his game for winning this HOH, but he wanted to win this one. He won it, and we'll have to wait and see what he's going to do and how this week is going to unfold. But that is it for this video. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think about Enzo winning HOH? Who do you think he's going to put up, and who do you think is going to be the target? Let me know that in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more Big Brother, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.